Star Trek Picard Season 3 Part 4, titled No-Win Scenario. The episode opens with another flashback 5 years prior, with Admiral Picard having dinner at Guinan's bar in San Francisco. Then a group of Starfleet cadets approach his booth, asking the Admiral about his encounter with the Hirogen and how they got to the Alpha Quadrant. Picard is reluctant at first, but continues to tell the story, ending with a motivational speech: when a situation seems hopeless, you can always count on your crewmates. Then it cuts to present day in the Nightmare Nebula from the previous episodes. The Titan is disabled, taking heavy damage from the battle with the Warship Shrike, and now is drifting towards a central gravity well that will eventually crush the starship. On board, the crew grapples to restore critical systems by diverting all of the ship's power to shields and life support. Making matters worse, an unknown anomaly from the center of the nebula is releasing gravimetric waves, further weakening the deflectors. To prevent the shields from completely collapsing, the crew has to power them down in between bursts and ascertain the timing between surge intervals to delay the ship's fate that now seems inevitable. Acting Captain Riker goes down to the observation deck where the Admiral is to inform him they only have 4 hours before the ship is crushed into the gravity well, and that Picard was correct and they should have tried to fight the Shrike instead of attempting to escape. Riker is having anxiety about the fate of the Titan and being away from his family, telling Picard to get his affairs in order and to talk with his son Jack. Now, 7 of 9, armed with a phaser, is searching the crewman's quarters that the Changeling replicated and discovers his body in the closet. She informs Captain Riker that the saboteur boarded the Titan before their encounter with the Shrike, and she's instructed to quietly search the ship. Beverly Crusher is at the science station in the medical bay tracking the gravimetric intervals so the bridge can raise the shields before the energy bursts impact the ship. Admiral Picard finally takes Riker's advice, proceeding to the med bay so he can have the talk with Jack that he had been avoiding the previous 2 episodes. Captain Shaw is recovering from his shrapnel wounds in the command quarters, sharpening his knife with frustration about the entire situation. Then 7 of 9 informs him of some more good news about the Rogue Changeling running around his ship out of control. Back at the ready room, Riker is getting his affairs in order, recording a message for his wife, Deanna Troi, in case any of the Titan's wreckage is recovered. Picard and Jack are now on the holodeck running a simulation of Guinan's bar made possible by an independent power module for morale purposes in light of events such as these. The Admiral and his son exchange tales of memorable missions over the years while sharing a drink. Back in Captain Shaw's quarters, he's briefing 7 of 9 about how to identify a changeling by asking it a question only that person would know, and warning of their shape-shifting techniques as she has never encountered one before. They formulate a plan to find its liquid form regeneration pot so 7 can upload a sample of its goo residue into the computer so the ship can locate the changeling's biosignature. After ransacking the quarters of the replicated crew member, 7 locates the goo vase inside a light fixture and proceeds to the biometrics lab, calling ahead for assistance. She was located in the corridor by the Changeling's new crew form. In the pursuing firefight, the pot was vaporized and the shapeshifter escaped through a wall conduit after sustaining multiple phaser hits. Now the Shrike has maneuvered just outside of the nebula's edge. Captain Vadic then takes a knife to her wrist, cutting off the hand as it transforms to a goo inside a receptacle that then manifests into a skull-type head. So Vadic is confirmed as a rogue changeling. She now looks nervous, almost frightened of what appears to be a communication from their leader, while reporting the Shrike broke off pursuit when the Titan was caught by the Anomaly's gravity well. The head goo then orders Vadic to pursue the Titan and retrieve the asset Jack Crusher, and she reluctantly follows the order after being reprimanded as expendable. What I think is this Rogue Dominion leader is a mixed hybrid Borg Changeling by the tone of its voice and how it speaks in absolutes, like a mutual assimilation between whatever the Borg Collective has manifested into and the splinter faction from the Great Link. With the reformed hand, Vadic the Changeling orders the Shrike back into the nebula, and she's chuckling and telling her Skeletor crew goodbye as they fly back, setting course towards the center of the anomaly. Back on the Titan, Picard and Jack continue to reminisce in the holodeck as a group of shaken ensigns have also joined the sanctuary. Then Captain Shaw comes into the bar heavily medicated and starts telling a war story about the Battle of Wolf 359 when he was a junior engineer assigned to the USS Constance. And we get the motive of his disdain for Picard, like Captain Sisko, both involved in the confrontation with the Locutus of Borg cube. Shaw was one of the 10 survivors from his starship, with 40 Federation vessels destroyed in total, along with the loss of 11,000 crew. Captain Shaw also emphasizes the real Borg are still out there, and they refer to Picard as Locutus, which is an additional detail pointing in the direction of a changeling Borg alliance. Jack tells Captain Shaw that's enough, and him and Picard exit the holodeck. Beverly then cracks the code of what's causing the anomaly is actually a life form in the process of reproduction. This leads into Jack's idea of the Titan hitching a ride on one of the increasing energy waves that will push the ship clear of the gravity well. Then they all meet in the conference room with a bunch of technobabble about the ship utilizing the gravimetric waves to power up the warp core while maneuvering with thrusters to avoid the asteroid field. They weigh the options of signaling for rescue with the surf escape plan and conclude they would rather go down trying instead of waiting a few more agonizing hours. The Titan has just enough energy to open the nacelle ventilators and power the thrust-to-shield ratio into the next gravimetric pulse interval, with the final monkey wrench of the shape-shifting gremlin still afoot somewhere in the ship. Captain Shaw and 7 of 9 manage to bait the changeling disguised as Ensign LaForge down to the nacelle control room, where they finally neutralize the threat. With the Titan ready to give up the ghost, the crew had one last chance to perfectly synchronize the precise gambit they narrowly pull off in a classic TNG manner and crew camaraderie. As the nacelle covers suck in the nebula's radiation and the warp core nearly charged, piercing the darkness ahead appears the Shrike that has bested the Titan and her crew at every turn. But Riker pulls a card from the Vadic playbook using the tractor beam asteroid sling, slamming the rock into the Shrike, pushing it clear of their flight path. Finally free of the Ryton Nebula scourge and payback for destroying my favorite ship, the Helios. Cruising by the Anomaly Space Baby's extra-large jellyfish, the Titan escapes at warp. The Shrike took heavy damage from the impact, but the Skeletor crews chattered that the warp drive will take an hour to repair. Although Captain Vadic's bravado has turned to dread as she failed to deliver the asset Jack Crusher to the mysterious Overlord. At the end of the episode, Jack Crusher has a vision of a door opening into red apocalyptic destruction and red tentacle-like vines on the wall with a mysterious voice calling out to find me. Now back to the Rogue Changeling Borg Collective hybrids. The Shapeshifter on Metallis Prime and the Saboteur on board the Titan both appeared to have Borg nanotech inside their faces when they changed shape. The leader changeling giving orders to Captain Vadic, his skull-like face structure could be a result of merging breakaway members of the Great Link with Borg technology, and his voice and speech patterns are similar to how the collective communicates. Now back to the reason this new faction is trying to capture Jack Crusher. It's feasible they need his DNA or something passed on to him from Picard that somehow remained in his body from Locutus of Borg. Now that Jean-Luc's human body has been replaced with a positronic unit, his son Jack is the only person in the universe that has whatever it is this Rogue Changelings are after. What are your thoughts? Could the Borg remnants and the Rogue Changelings formed an alliance and even merged forms together, creating a new powerful hybrid that was the one giving orders to Captain Vadic? For Star Trek Picard Season 3 episode reviews, click on this playlist window link. And check out the channel's content covering other sci-fi franchises like The Expanse, The Matrix, Star Wars, Mad Max, and others. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit engage!